Hello and welcome to Toy and Items Guide in 7.01 patch. So Legion is about to launch, and one of the things that Legion pre-patch did was that it turned a lot of items into toy items. So previously items that you perhaps carry around in your inventory, you now don't have to carry around, but they are converted into toys, which means that every character, well, it basically becomes a account bound item, so you can use these items on any character that you want. And that is why I really do want to highlight that you try to get the specific useful items in the game that can help you enhance your gameplay. Because some of the items really just helps you out straight away from day one when you do have them. So I want to start off by saying that you should probably make auction bars like these, and then perhaps have them either hidden or perhaps just somewhere in your UI. Obviously that is a personal preference, but I like to have all the items that I use on an auction bar like this. So usually mine are just tiny little bars that I put down here below my normal free action bars with all my abilities. But yeah, that was just a little tip. So let's get to it. Baruun's Bountiful Boom. It's just great. It scales with health, it's percentage and everything. It's it's pretty much the best food item that has ever been made in World of Warcraft. This is just amazing, and it's found in Warlords of Draenor easily in Shadowmoon Valley. This one, it's not that good. It can only be used in Draenor, but for now it's still a pretty decent item, and I believe it can even be used in combat if I remember right. Can't quite remember. Haven't used it too much, but still it's a great little healing item, especially for pulling, between packs and firemans or something if you want to help your healer out. Race of the Awakening. This can be gotten, I believe it was in Tanan Jungle. Basically, this is going to be very helpful in especially also Legion. Mass Resurrection is gone, so this item has gotten even more valuable. Like if you're gonna wipe, you can maybe just manage to click on the item quickly and then just place it wherever you might want to. Like I guess I can place it really far away, but let's just try place it over there. So if people are gonna die, it's gonna rest somebody. Pretty handy item, especially with mass resurrection being nerfed. Maybe it still existed for healers, I think. But yeah, basically it's gonna be useful even in Legion, so I highly suggest that you get this item. Just pop it before a wipe or something like that. Let's see, Saint Battle Banner. This is still really a handy little item. Now, I do believe this has been nerfed, so it's only effective in Pandaria now. But still, if you're gonna do content in Pandaria, it's still a very nice item to have to escape combat and so forth. Chef's Hat. This is an amazing item. It's back from Wrath of the Lich King where you had to gather, let's see, it's some sort of tokens. I think it's with these ones here, Epicurean Awards, and I think they cost like 100 of these. And then you go to a vendor and buy it. With this item, you can cook, I think it's like one food every half a second or 1 second. It just goes so much faster than the normal one. And again, this is account bound now, so you can use this on any character. This is my preferred looking, you know, spirit bonfire. Obviously, you can just use the default one, but I do like the looks of this one. Uh, it's just kind of preference. There's a lot of these items, but I kind of just like a little quiet little barbecue pit. That's like looks cool. Okay, Blast Horn. Again, I do believe this is also been nerfed to only work in Pandaria, but still, it's very useful if you're doing Pandaria content. It basically AoE pulls every little mob in the area that you click it on. I can just try to quickly find a mob. Yes, there's mobs down here. So if I click it, I'm gonna argue everything, and yeah, and you can see even argues, things that are not necessarily. Oh, that takes too long time to kill. Okay, but yeah, I do believe a lot of these items have been nerfed to work in only the specific zones, expansion packs they were gotten in, so forth. But still, it's a handy item. This is just another really good item. I can't maybe you're gonna be swimming a lot in timeless Iceland down here, so the aqua duel would still be quite useful for such a scenario, but elsewhere you'll probably not be swimming a lot anymore in Pandaria. But still, it's a cool item to have, and it's just a toy item, so it's easy. And the same with this one. Underwater breath and swim 200% faster. I can't quite remember if they do stack these two, but it's pretty damn sweet regardless. And as you see, it's a 15-minute buff, and this one's a 10-minute buff. It's just very handy to have. Eternal Warrior Sickle. This is basically like Ever of Blooming's Font. This is not that useful anymore since it's basically just an healed. And I don't believe it can also will not be used in combat. And there's also some other limitations to it, but it's still a good item for soloing stuff in Pandaria. And now for the more Warlords of Draenor specific items. Most of these are gotten from Tanaan Jungle. So I think I will just quickly Hearthstone back now. Oh, and by the way, I love the Aqua Duel because it makes your character transparent, which is actually really useful. I at least like that thing. Um, Being transparent can be kind of useful in PvE if you don't like to have your character filling up your screen or whatever. But yeah, let's go with the first one here. Tree Assassin's Guide. This one basically just, oh man, it's so lame. So Garrison, Garrison is not Warlords of Draenor. Even Blizzard don't like the idea, I suppose. Okay, so now I'm in Shadow Moon Valley, so this is definitely gonna work now. This is basically just to hide yourself out of combat. So if you're gonna get ganked and you're like, oh, I need to escape combat, this is a handy little item. I pretty much never used it, mostly also just because I have Shadow Melt on the main character that I do play. But still, it's a nice item for world PvP. I can't quite remember if this is usable in Asran, but it might be. Skull Mat of the Skull of the Mad Chief even. This is a very handy item. I used this a lot before flying was not available. Basically, it makes you able to travel super fast. I'm just gonna quickly pop it now. And as you can see, it's just a really super item. This is still an extremely good item if you haven't got flying in Warlords of Draenor, but most people have it by now, so yeah. Okay, let's see. This one is definitely one of the best items that I have pretty much ever had on any of my list over the years that I tried to compile this. It's basically amazing for anything from like the fishing tournament in Stranglehold Vale to just normal general farming of fishing. I love this item. It was just so good to get this one in Mr. Pandaria from the dailies and whatnot, or reputation even. Far Watcher's Clutch. This one is basically like the far side of the Shaman spell. So let's say I want to go have a look at those mountains there. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I can easily click there. So now I'm gonna be teleported over to the mountains. Now obviously there are some limitations. I cannot move now, so I can only tilt and move my camera. But still, it's a nice little thing if you need to explore a raid scenario or anything. And honestly, a 10-minute cooldown, it's not too bad. And again, it's a toy, so it's just gonna stay there on every character you want to use it on, and not take up any slot or space. So yeah, it's a pretty decent item. I like it. This one is also one of the really great items. I actually kinda ended up using this one on every one of my characters just because having a slow fall is really handy. Now obviously a lot of classes have slow fall themselves. Engineering has the glider cloak, but slow fall, um, there's a lot of scenarios where slow fall will be useful, and it's just nice to have it. You know, it's a small cooldown of only an hour, so it's not like it can only be used once a day. It's pretty decent. So that's why I tend to keep this one on every one of my character. Finless Luderang, I talked about this one a lot before, but it's basically just an amazing AoE. I actually do want to highlight something here just because. Let's see. Sorry, bear with me. Bear with me. Okay, so there's some mobs down here. I just want to highlight a real small thing here. I might talk about this in some other videos later on, but basically, Lyritrix Plus, get this add-on. It has so many good things, but I'm not gonna talk too much about it now. I just want to, yeah. So in here, system faster autoloot. If checked, the amount of time it takes to autoloot creatures will be significantly reduced. This little tick here actually makes the fitness looter rank even less valuable, but it's still a nice item to have. Like certain mobs can bug out and you can loot them, but with this item it's easily to do that. But yeah, now I killed 3 mobs. Oh, and they don't give any loot. Okay, but basically get Lyritrix Plus. Then this item is not that needed, but it's still a great little thing to have. And that's why I tend to also use this one a lot of my characters. The next one, this is actually a pet, but it's just such a useful one. It's the Ardent Squire from the tournament in Icecrown Citadel, or whatever that zone was now called. Basically, you can visit a mailbox, which is always a handy thing, you know, like you're in a trade or whatever, and you want to see if you have any mails to check or whatever. But visit a bank is probably the most useful. Visit a trade is also really nice just to have a vendor and stuff like that, but it's mostly just being able to access the bank, not your guild bank, but at least your own bank. And come on, it doesn't even have a cooldown. Yeah, this has a cooldown, but summoning the pet obviously doesn't. But I can't quite remember how long you have to wait in between uses. But yeah, let's see. Corrupted Primal Obelisk. This is another one that only works in Draenor, and it's found in Tanan Jungle. Basically, this one works as an aggro dump. So if you pop this one, mobs will attack this one instead. It has a 5-minute cooldown, which is actually not a lot, and it lasts for a whole minute. So if you need some help on, say, a low-level character soloing things in Draenor, this is a very handy little item. Avenia Speller. This is probably one of the most highlighted items in the whole expansion, but it hasn't gotten much use since it was nerfed to only work in Draenor now, and obviously flying was enabled as well. But basically just gives you a way to fly around in Draenor if you don't have flying. And it just makes you able to like fly across a whole zone before you end up landing, which is very nice. Oh, now there's actually the last item, but this one I forgot about this one. It only works in Pandaria zones, but it's basically just like a little jump you get. I can't quite see if this would be useful for many people, but I still like to include it. But yeah, that was pretty much it, the list. Um, there's just so many good items now, and they're like really useful, all of them, and that's why I like to include these bars here in my interface. Like maybe you can just hide them or anything like that. It's easy to set this up and make it look good in Bartender or whatever you now use for bars. So why not just go for it? But yeah, that was my little or long list for all the useful items in patch 7.01 pre-patch of Legion. Hopefully we're gonna see more items in Legion that are also gonna have some uses, but until then, have a good one.